What's going on, my fellow basement dwellers? Welcome back to another episode of the Guild Wars 1 Let's Play. Things are a little different. We're on the main account because today we're going to be trying to queue some Jade Quarry. That's one of the PvP modes available, and so I hopped back on the old main account to kind of show off the actual PvPing. But I will be also showing the quests to get there and some of the stuff about the area as well. But the first thing I wanted to do was show off the thing I was mentioning last episode, where you can map break on this map here. So there is a way to do it. I thought originally you had to be the faction that owns the town, which is one of the ways to do it, but there actually is another way to do it. So if we grab us one of these guys here, we bring him back to this these group of enemies. You can essentially trick one of the NPCs to run. We're waiting just for him to run back inside the outpost. Come on. We should be able to teleport to him then. Yep. And now we can basically run around the outpost without, actually being in the explorable areas. So we can run right through the gate. And this is what I wanted to show off. If you go, I believe it's right somewhere around here. So might be down over here. No, it's over here. So if you climb up over here, nice piece of jade over here, you can actually climb up this little mountains here and get out of bounds. So is this actually relevant for anything? No. Is this like a super weird piece of information that I'm showing you all just because I thought it would be interesting? Yes. Yes, it is. We can get over to here and kind of see the endless abyss. You can climb this mountain over here. This is actually a way to get extra map, what's it called? Map exploration. There's like an extra % or so you can get just from running around this area here. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of want to show this off. I thought it'd be kind of cool. Don't ask me specifically why. I don't have a good answer. I just found this or had someone show this to me years ago when my guild actually owned this outpost, because you can do this inside the outpost. And thought it was super interesting, so I thought I'd show it off. There's nothing really back here. They didn't really, because obviously they didn't intend you to get back here, so there's no like NPCs or interesting things to really show off besides the fact that you can run around back here. I think you can get on top of one of these other mountains. I'm not exactly sure if I remember correctly. Well, yeah, it's just a cool little area back here. There's like this little flat area back here. You know, a bit of a run around. Here's the edge of the map. Everything's a little glitchy, a little buggy. I wonder if we can go up this. It's pathed, or it's built really weird, obviously, because they never really intend for players to get back here. So, nah, it doesn't look like we can do any more mountain goating back here. But anyway, this is something I mentioned in the previous episode, and I did eventually figure out how to do it. There's nothing really back here, but I think there are some other places where this works. But not that I necessarily know of. This is the only one I know of off the top of my head, that you can do something like this. But anyway, let's go on with the rest of the episode. Alright. So here we are back on the old factions character. And we're here to do the Jade Quarry quests. We're also going to play a game, but I'm not sure how long that's going to take, and I'm going to be doing that on one of the PvP characters over on my main account. I'm also going to be swapping back to the main account because, well, there's essentially an outpost on either side, both Luxon and Kurzicks, and I do want to show off both sides, so I will be swapping back to show off both sides. In the meantime, though, let us grab our blessing and make our way Down there. We kind of did a good chunk of this run before, but you know what? You're going to see it anyway because... yeah. I don't have good second point with my first point. Ha. Next episode, though, we're probably just going to be doing some side quests around the area as well. And then after that, I'll probably just cut away until we have the faction to go on to the next part of the quest line. Oh man, I meant to swap up the build for this episode. I'm so sorry. I will actually do that at the end of this episode before I forget. And I'll just go over the build in the beginning of the next episode. But yeah, a little bit more context on these two PvP modes, the Fort Aspenwood and the Jade Quarry. They're kind of like mixed PvE and PvP, so like, you'll see more whenever we get there, but in general, they're like, you are fighting other players, but there are also like groups of NPCs around that are helping you, and you have to like destroy the bases of the other NPCs. I go back and forth on whether I actually really like these game modes at all, because they're alright. And I've definitely played them quite a bit in the past, but they're definitely not my favorite form of PvP. They are very fun to do just with some friends chilling late at night. Nowadays, it's like 90% bot. I mean, even back in the day, they were mainly bots, but now it's arguably even worse, which is an achievement. In itself. But one interesting thing about them, besides the fact that obviously there's a different outpost for each side, which is kind of cool, there's they're actually different like designs, philosophies. And what I mean by that is that the Jade Quarry is symmetrical, basically. The arena is the same for both sides. There's just some like visual differences, so it doesn't really matter which side you play. Whereas the other side, the other area, the Fort Aspenwood, is not as symmetrical. It still does have a lot of symmetrical aspects to it, but I believe, if I remember correctly, and if I'm not losing my sanity, that one is more. Like, the different sides actually play slightly different roles, which is interesting. On one hand, that's kind of cool, but on the other hand, that means that, like, you know, let's say you prefer defense, that means you have to play Kurzik, whether or not your character or which side you're on aligns more with, you know, whichever other side. But, they did find a way around that. At some point, they added... essentially a generic faction that lets you swap stuff to Luxon or Kurzicks faction. I'll talk a little bit more about that probably later. But eventually they essentially added some systems to encourage you to play either side just so the matches could keep firing. Instead of originally you would only get Kurzicks faction for playing the Kurzicks side and would only get Luxon faction for playing the Luxon side. So if you wanted one faction or the other, you were kind of forced to play one side, whether that side was losing, whether that side had, you know, so many more people that the queue times were longer. So that was a good change they made a while ago at this point. I'm pretty sure that change was pre-Guild Wars 2. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but I'm almost certain that change was pre-Guild Wars 2 launch. go on in here. This is the Jade Flats. This is like the outpost between the PvP zone and the PvE zone. I'm not actually exactly sure why this exists, because it's literally an outpost into an outpost. There's no, like, technical reason that I could think of that there can't be. I guess it's so... Oh, I know why. It's so... Let's say you're a PvE character and you're trying to leave this area. If you need henchmen or something, you'd have to have an outpost here so that they can grab henchmen if they want to leave out of here and go run around. That's why this exists. Okay. But anyway, let's talk to this guy and turn in the quest. Elder Rhea sent you? Good. Your assistance is very welcome, my friend. Alright. Here's the, there's a shot of the arena over there. But we're going to swap over to my other account real quick and look at the other side, or look at the outposts a little bit more, and then we're going to watch the cutscene, and then we're going to play a match. Alright, so we will just have gotten to this outpost on the Let's Play character. We are here back on the main account, again, because I'm actually going to play the PvP modes on my main. But also so I can show off the other side to this outpost, because they're actually... It's kind of weird, there are like 4 outposts. There's the flats for each side, and then the actual PvP map for each side. So yeah, I just thought I'd give a little rundown. There's a little turtle guy here. Read the description. I think it's the same for both of them. Yeah. Although the Jade Sea more than lives up to its name, the jade that makes up its petrified waves is not necessarily of the best quality. The Jade Quarry has been literally carved from the stretch of the seabed that contains the finest and most valuable jade derived from the mineralized bodies of countless sea creatures. Mining in the Jade Quarry is extremely dangerous, as the Kurzicks and Luxons are almost constantly fighting over this valuable resource. Okay, it looks like all the outposts have literally the exact same name. Or the exact same thing going on. But here is the Luxon side, which is the side we'll be doing. There's kind of like, one side is kind of the defending and one side is kind of the offensive side. Not exactly how it works here, as there are some slight differences. At least for this one, this is more of a symmetrical game mode, but the other PvP game mode we'll get to eventually is a lot less symmetrical. What's this guy do? Okay, apparently I had a quest here from forever ago. But yeah, it's just a little outpost. Now let's go over to the Kurzicks side, because the Kurzicks side actually has a different outpost. Just hide myself offline, just so... Yeah, it's a little bit different. As you can see, though, it's kind of... These are kind of interesting outposts, because these are outposts that are kind of on the edge of... leading into the Jade Sea area, so we haven't really done a lot of exploration of the Kurzicks zones, but this is generally quite a bit greener than most of the Kurzicks zones are. And there's some stuff that is like more like these bamboo shoot tree things here, which are more kind of, I would associate with the Jade Quarry side, or the, excuse me, the Luxon side. And here is the Kurzicks side. A tree here. If you talk to, I believe it's these guys, they give you a, let me just, I had someone mention that the, volume for the cutscenes is a little low, so let me turn that up real quick, and I think... Ah, here we go. Replay the mission cinematic. Here we go. I'm pretty sure it's the same cinematic for both sides, but we'll see. It's roughly the same cinematic.
I see 2 kinds of people out here on the borderlands. The very brave and the foolhardy. Which are you?
Let's hope very brave.
Yes, let's hope. Follow me. This is one of the largest jade mines in Cantha. Because of the value of this area, to both us and the Luxons, battles are frequent here on the Petrified Sea. We use this well-guarded stronghold as a rendezvous point for our jade collecting operations. There are two ways out. You can walk through the front door, or you can use these portals to quickly get to one of the mining sites. Your task is to claim the quarries so we can mine the precious jade.
This is just like super basic
Once you've
definition of the
activated
game.
the mining equipment, we'll send guards and a juggernaut to collect the jade. But be careful. The Luxons will attack the guards and try to shut down the operation so they can claim the quarries themselves. There are guard posts all across the mine. You can claim them the same way you claim the Jade Quarries. If you do, we'll send guards to help stop the Luxons from gathering jade. If you get killed by the Luxons while in the mine, you'll be resurrected here inside the stronghold. You can rest assured that you'll be safe in here. The Luxons can't get in, not even if they try to run the front gate with 100 of their siege turtles. But if I could give you one piece of advice, it would be this. Don't get killed.
Thanks. I'll try to remember that.
Maybe you are one of the brave ones. Blessed be your journey.
Okay, yeah. So the Luxon cutscene is borderline the same thing. So I am just gonna sit here and queue up for a game, and we will see you whenever I get in a game. I'm gonna set up a build real quick as well too. All right, here we are in a game. I may have already recorded one game and then stopped as it was just yeah, it was a free loss, but this time I think we might actually have some real players in this lobby, which is weird. So normally these lobbies are just full of bots, to be completely honest with you. You know, due to dwindling player populations and everything. So how this game mode works basically is that there are three. Okay, pull them up. Oh yeah, here it is. There are three different quarries that could be captured, as well as guard outposts between the quarries and your base. It's essentially two close and a far quarry, so your goal is to generally cap and then keep the two quarries that are close to your base. And then defend them as well. So one thing we'll be doing here is we'll be trying to break some of these quarries. Is where a more experienced player than me would be able to easier hit these reps, but it's been a while. So generally what you do is you just kind of defend the two close crawlers to you. You can go for the far crawler. The far crawler is an option, but generally it takes too long to get the far crawler. So you might go out there just to flip it just so the enemy can't get it, but in general you wouldn't actually like sit on it. Some of these bots before we get pile drove by like 5 of them. That's gonna be our goal here, just try to keep our side alive. Try to hit these rups when we can. So we have 2 turtles constantly going in for our side. As long as 2 turtles are going in for our side and only 1 is going in for the other side, we're in good shape. I do have a fire shield on to try to prevent some of this damage coming out from these guys. Yep, it's a very basic game. When there's a lot of actual players, it can get quite a bit more like interesting because you also have to be fighting a lot of the players between the 2 quarries. But especially in a situation like this where it's mainly just bots, it's not very competitive. It's just kind of whichever bots are programmed to be the winning side generally win. As a player, you just try to kill as many different of the things as you can. But as long as you keep... There's also 1 shrine you need to keep. This shrine here. This will kill the turtle if it's coming from this side. And same thing with on the other side. There's a one in a similar position. That you need to keep the enemy team away from. But this is just mainly a decent way for people to get Balthazar faction and either Kurzik or Luxon or Imperial faction. So Imperial faction is basically just factions you can turn into Balthazar or Luxon or Kurzik. They eventually added this faction essentially to encourage people to play both sides, because you used to only get the faction for the side you're on. So like we're on the Luxon side right now, so we're technically getting Luxon faction, which I'm actually maxed out on. But because they changed it to getting Imperial faction, this means you can just turn the faction into whichever side you want, which is a pretty good change in my opinion, because it means that as the player population dwindled, you could just you know, queue for whichever side had less people. Now, obviously, that would lower your chances of winning, but generally, but let's go this way. It looks like this is an actual player. At least I think it is. Yeah, they're make hasting that. Either that might be a bot too. Be completely honest with you, but it looks more like an actual player, so I think I probably can just go to the other side. Although, now that I say it, this might be a bot too, because both of them are using the same kind of skills on the turtles to speed them up. Yeah. This is my PvP Mesmer. I like the way he looks. Got some nice gear. At this point, we're more or less kind of just waiting for the game to end, because we have these 2 people escorting up these turtles. Oh, this is another strat that maybe I can briefly talk on, is that people would bring skills to speed up the turtles, so that you essentially could get your turtle back to base faster, so it could go out and go looking for more Jade quicker. So that's what these monks in part are doing, is they're using Paragon skills to make the turtles move faster. Yeah, I don't think those are actual players. But here's the other teams. And a very popular strategy was called was using necro skills to essentially self-sack your HP. You just jump on top of one of those things and use it to use skills to instantly blow up all your HP, and win that way. That's the kind of the standard way that people would win, or not win, but that's the way people would cap a lot of those things really quick, is you use a lot of self-sacrificing necro skills, and then a lot of skills that do big damn whenever you die. But anyway, that's been a little bit of a look at Jade Quarry. I want to thank you for coming out, and I hope you have a great day. I will see you in the next one.